We got into real estate, and of course, 2008 happened, and the crash happened, and we were
Boom.
like, "Oh shit."
What are we
We're
gonna do
not
now?
going to work now,
Yeah.
after being self-employed. It's hard
Yep.
to say, hey, now I'm going to go do it. A friend of his called and said, hey, you guys want to do taxes? And we hung up the phone. Hell no. Who want to do taxes? That
That's
shit sounds
boring.
so boring. It sounds so not cute.
But you're about to find out it's lucrative.
Definitely. And so he called us back after a few months in the tax season, and he said, hey, here's the first check of the season. And we were like, oh, if he can do this, we can certainly make a shit ton of money doing this. And so we ended up, just kind of jumping into it head first. We always wanted it to be virtual. And in 2015, we looked up and we were like, oh, shoot.
It's here.
Everybody's doing banking online.
Yep.
Everybody has apps on their phone.
Yep.
We're ready. Let's go.
I am with like the boss right here. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you, love.
It's about damn time you come on.
Absolutely.
Look, we've been talking about this for a year.
Like a year and a half.
A year.
Yeah, plus.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Time to get it done.
Yeah. Now here we are. And I had to get you all the way out here in person because we're not doing no Zoom room.
Well, face to face just makes it so much better when you got a pretty face like yours. I want to see you. I want to see you in all your glory, girl.
Okay, straight from ATL.
Yes.
We have my girl. Tell us who you are.
Hey, family. My name is Cherina Rowand. I am the CEO and founder of One Stop Taxes and a few other businesses that we'll talk about today, but definitely excited to be here with No Women and Miss Sarah.
Oh my gosh. Wait until you hear this lady's story. I'm talking about, like that whole, I started from the bottom. Now we here. This is it right here.
Put my picture on the album cover, baby. Put my picture on the album.
Okay, so you went in and you already told us you're the founder of One Stop Taxes. One Stop Taxes is a tax franchise licensed business where you help empower other people to start their own tax businesses, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about that because this is my favorite part. So sometimes it doesn't take a big backstory or a history or how and you're no accountant.
No, not at all.
No accountant. You wanted to make some money. So I asked you, I said, how did you even get into taxes? And you said, I was trying to make money.
Absolutely. So, my husband and I, when I got married at the ripe age of 22, right? My husband and I knew that we did not want to buy into the 40-40-40 plan. We didn't want to work 40 years, and retire on 40% of what wasn't enough in the first place.
That's right.
And so we started out in real estate really young, always trying to figure out how to do this thing called life on our own terms, right?
I love it.
We like to say that we want to design the life that we want, not necessarily just live the one that someone hands to us.
That's
right?
It. Uh-huh.
And so we got into real estate, and of course 2008 happened and the crash happened, and we were like, oh shit. What are we gonna do now? We're not going to work now, after being self-employed. It's hard to say, hey, now I'm going to go do it. And so we looked up and we said, hey, let's look at some different things. And a friend of his called and said, hey, you guys want to do taxes? And we hung up the phone. Hell no. Who want to do taxes? That shit sounds
boring.
so boring. It sounds so not cute.
But you're about to find out it's lucrative.
Definitely. And so he called us back after a few months in the tax season, and he said, hey, here's the first check of the season. And we were like, oh, if he can do this, we can certainly make a shit ton of money doing this. And so we ended up, just kind of jumping into it head first. And after a few years, of just doing it mom and pop style in the office, waiting on the customers to come in.
We're talking old school style when people would come with their papers, their W-2s.
This is 2011, right? We don't even have cell phones and pictures and all that, not
the box of receipts and
the whole nine. And so, we looked at it, and from the beginning, we always wanted it to be virtual, but technology wasn't ready to catch up with it yet. And so we just kind of kept it mom and pop until it was ready. And in 2015, we looked up and we were like, oh, shoot.
It's here.
Everybody's doing banking online.
Yep.
Everybody has apps on their phone.
Yep.
We're ready. Let's go. And so we started building out the platform so that we could teach other people how to do taxes. And then we could grow the tax business that way. We didn't want to just grow it sitting there waiting on customers to come through the door. Again, that's old school. It wasn't speaking to
it's hyper local.
It's so hyper local.
You can't really get that reach that you really need. I love this.
Absolutely. And so we said, you know what? Let's turn this thing up. And instead of us going out to find customers, let's go show people how to do this, and they'll go get customers because they want to make some money. How about that?
Okay, so that's where we need to stop and sit right here. Okay, so you have a background in film and video.
Yes.
You said you also wanted to fund some projects, which you have since then done some little things. Yeah. But that's also like another reason why you're like, look, we got to make some money. We want to make some money. We got to figure this life out. We're not going to go work a 9-to-5, no cubicle life. Like, babe, what are we going to do? And after a few fumbles, a few pivots, you land on taxes. Again, I have to say this for the third time for anybody who's listening or watching this. There is no background in accounting. There's no accounting degree, and it's just proof that you don't have to have the degree. You don't have to have all the background that says you're worthy enough to open a business like this, okay?
You have to just have the wherewithal to say, hey, I know what I do. I know that I don't know everything,
but I'm willing to
to figure it out.
That's it.
And so, somewhere along the way, you start to walk in, and then next thing you know, you got it on you, babe.
I love it. So you started this in 2000. You started doing taxes in 2011. Yeah. 2015. Now here we are. Okay, they're ready for us. And I said, well, how did you know? Like you said, well, I was making really good money. Yes. We were doing really, really well. We needed to put some process behind it. Keyword process. We put some process behind it, dial it up, and bring in other people to work alongside of us.
That's it.
So you went with a licensing model. My first business was a licensing model. It is the most genius model of business. I think that people do not... They need to look into it. Yes. They need to do it. There's a lot of flexibility there, and I'm such a proponent of this. So you have at this point 1,000+ active licensees working up under your brand.
Correct.
How do you find these people?
Well, it's all virtual, so it's all really internet driven, and we put a networking component in place so that whenever you refer a store, you get a chance to have a piece of their revenue pool. Oh. And so now people are seeing a way to have a little bit of leverage and be able to have
My cousin can do it. My sister can do it. Hey, you want to make some side
And most people
money.
know people who are already doing taxes, but they're chasing people around trying to do it the old school way. Right. And this gives them a platform. This gives them something to say, hey, you know what? I have a reputable brand that I'm behind. And so now I'm no longer just little old me out here doing taxes on my own. I am part of something a little bit bigger, and they get to brand it on their own. And so One Stop is just the engine that powers their business. And so I love giving them the opportunity. Shout out to all my store owners, right? I love giving them the opportunity to be the boss, to be the person that is the deal, right? Because, for me, it's not about being the deal anymore. Yeah. At one point it was, but then I realized being the deal means you have a very good job. And so you want to at some point be able to work yourself out of
the job,
being the deal. And so for me, that was the processes. I needed the processes in place so that I could fire myself.
This rings so true to me and my stories of how I started with our first business, and it's so true. I think there was also this thing that you mentioned too. It was like, I figured it out. I want to help other people figure this out, right? You're actually changing the trajectory of people's finances, of their households, of their incomes. People are doing this full time. They can do it part time. They can do it however, right?
We have everything in between. We have some people that, just put in a few returns because they're trying to make some ends meet, or it's new to them. And so they're trying to get, their bearings about them. We have some people that come to us that have been doing taxes for years, but again, they're doing it brick and mortar and they want something more virtual. And this offers a turnkey solution for them. And then we have some people who are kicking ass and, doing, several six figures in this business, and it's just amazing to see because, like you said, we get to see people's lives change.
That's it.
I get to see people,
and look at you lighting up.
Yeah, I get to see people like Kelly Jones, who started out in Houma, Louisiana, as a hotel desk making $8 an hour.
Yeah.
And now Kelly does, $350,000 a year in her tax
Wow.
business. She's a completely different person. Her life doesn't look the same. She's moved. She's, her children are doing well. It's just great to see people be able to find something that works, because so many of us are out there looking for something that works.
That's
and
right.
when I found out that taxes would actually work and it could work for a lot of people, I was like, hey,
we gotta do this. I love it so much. And it also was you saying, that sounds boring. But then you took a step, you tried it, you worked through it, and then found a solution to help you. So you're married, you and your husband are in this business and all the businesses together, which I love. You're really building a family office because you have 3 children. Right? This is a super mom. I don't even know how you're doing it.
I don't know how super it is.
Well, I will tell you, I want to talk a little bit about that, like the juggle and it is because I recently heard for moms or anyone who's doing multiple things at once, right? You're never going to be 100 at everything. There's always a choice to be made. How do you balance that or juggle super mom with business owner?
I love this concept of balance, right? I tell my mentees all the time and people that I'm working with, there is no balance when you're grinding. When you're in the process of scaling your business, where you're in it, there's no balance. At one point, I'm a great mom. The next day, I'm a great business lady. The next day, I'm a great wife. I'm probably not I'm not great at any of them at the same time. But everything gets my attention in due time. Right. Because I'm one person.
And you're giving everything. So that's how I tend to do too, right? Like in this moment, you have everything of me.
Yes.
And then I'm sorry, when this moment is over, I'm going to go
give
everything to her and everything to him and everything else.
I got do not disturb on the door
now, baby. That's right.
It.
And I'm going to get to you, but I have learned that as well. Like when it's mom mode, crushing it. Right? Crushing life right now. When it's work mode, we're crushing work too. And when it's time to mentor and raise up the next generation, we're pouring into them as well.
I think that's how I get the name The Unicorn. My friends were like, how are you doing this and this and this? And I was like, I don't know. I just do it. But I'm not, when I'm doing the mom thing, I'm trying to be present there. Right. I want to be great at it the same way I want to be great at everything else. And so I want my kids to be impressed, and so, birthday parties are a little bit over the top, but again,
we're doing the dance. Like, don't you think I'm cool, right?
But, that's because at some point I know that there's going to be some times where they have to sacrifice because mom can't be there.
That's right.
And so when I'm present, it's all in, right? It's Super Bowl time. That's how I approach most things.
Your life, I think, right? You're all in. Since I've known you, I have seen that from you. All in, 100 max to the core. Like, this is who you are. High energy, pouring in and just giving everything that you have. I really, really, really love that about you. And that's why it's no surprise that you have built such an incredible business with One Stop, which is now a $10 million business. Okay. So we were making some big revenues. But I have to go back to thinking like, it's still like that fearlessness that I'm not scared to step outside of the zone. Were you born like this?
I was.
You were like to the max all the time.
Yeah. I'm the oldest kid. And so I've always embraced things that I just didn't know how to do. And I'm most comfortable, I think, sometimes stretching myself. If I feel like I'm in my comfort zone too long, I get nervous. I'm like, I know how to do everything. I'm not learning right now. I'm nervous. And so I'm a lifelong learner. And I think that I just take that approach to business and things like
I love that. What was your upbringing like?
Oh goodness. I'm very modest, very humble. My mom and dad, and my sisters and brothers, we lived with my grandmother for a part of our life. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. My mother went to prison for a few years when I was a kid. And so we had to navigate life without mom.
That's where you got, that's okay. That's where you got it from.
Yeah, 5, and so then mom goes away. Guess who becomes the new mom, right?
Yeah.
And so it was just a you know, I wouldn't say it was super rough. I know people had it probably a lot rough than me.
Yeah.
But, you know, it definitely wasn't sunshine and rainbows all the time, you know, growing up in Memphis, Tennessee. Everybody's heard of Memphis, Tennessee. And, and I did not grow up in the suburbs, right? And so yeah, no, definitely. But when I look at it, you know, I feel like a lot of people could look at my situation and say, oh, you could be here, but that was never an option for me because I saw what I did not want my life to look like.
And
then
so you did everything
I just did that to not go to that place, right? And so I look at some people that were from the same place, and you know, their life doesn't necessarily look the way mine does. And when they look back on how they grew up, it colored them, you know, it colored the glass a different way for them. But for me, it just showed me glaringly what not to do.
100%. And I love that you said that, because so I feel the same way. And I always say, like, you choose not to be a victim of your circumstances.
Definitely.
Right? Like, I don't blame any bad decision I made or any mishap I made or any circumstance that was out of my control that leads me to sit here and like swallow and just be so down and depressed.
Defeated
I
by
always
it,
pulled myself up. It was never a question.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what I love about you, but I love that you're also like, this is what shaped me, and this maybe gave you the fuel to really keep going and to really push through that. Also, I was talking to our teens. I do a lot of teen stuff with our softball girls. And I came in and I said to them, I said, you know, a lot of times it's just not about, it's not about the actual decision that you made. Because sometimes we have to make these decisions on the fly.
Right.
Sometimes we don't have a lot of time to sit here and the logic, right? Or we thought it was going to go well, but then it didn't go well. And, you know, like real estate, we thought it was going to go well, and 2008 happened and there was nothing you could do.
Right.
It's not about like the actual decision. It's about like how you come out of it. And it's about doing the best of what you can. Right. And I think that you're like you are the poster child of that.
Thank you.
And you're crushing it.
You know, again, life is going to take you through these valleys and these peaks. You're not immune to it. It doesn't matter what background you come from. It comes for all of us. But again, the measure of a person is, how do you deal with adversity? How do you deal with challenges in your life? And how do you overcome obstacles so that you can go to the next place where you're supposed to be? Because the obstacle was supposed to be there anyway. It's just whether or not you chose to get stuck at it. It's coming.
No matter what. No one is immune to it, right? No one is immune to having to go through struggles. And I think what you did is you just committed to like to keep going. And to say, I'm not going to let this thing, whatever it is, no matter how big. I mean, that was you endured a huge like series of years in your life, right?
Definitely.
That was not a little feat. So I think it's just so important to say, like, you committed to saying, this isn't going to hold me back. I'm not going to just, I'm not going to just stay here in Memphis. I'm better than whatever these circumstances. That's it.
And again, I've been designing this life of mine for a long time, right? And so when I get the tools to take it to the next level, it's like, hey, that's exactly what I take it as. This is a tool to be able to etch out and design the next phase of life.
How did you learn business?
How did I learn business? Life taught me business, honestly. My husband is amazing. He's always been an entrepreneur as well. Again, we met when we were, fresh out of college, and we just kind of started on the journey. It was like, you know what? If we're going to bet on somebody, why not bet on us?
Yes.
And so we, don't get me wrong, we had a couple of, corporate positions here or there.
Yeah.
And it was, for me, corporate America was a training ground. I was studying in corporate America. I wanted to know what the processes were. How do you build this business? How do you keep it going? Where is the president who is never here, but everything gets done, right? How do you get that done?
Yes.
Right? And
I love this because for my corporate girlies who want to ultimately launch their own business, you are in a perfect training ground. And when you look at it as an opportunity, you really can take and leverage some of those skills.
Absolutely.
Start watching, start listening, start seeing what they're doing, start getting some of those processes.
On a higher level. Don't just pay attention
don't be
to
like,
what
I
your
hate my
job is.
I hate my job, right?
Pay attention to how your job plays into the entire ecosystem of what's going on, because you're a cog in the wheel, but there are lots of different cogs, every department, every person. And so at some point, all of these things have to come together in turn in order for this business to work. And so that's the big thing that you should be looking at. You should be looking at, oh my goodness, how does all of this come together so that this business can thrive?
That's it. I love that you said that. So you've taken One Stop Taxes, and you have really used that as a vehicle to buy other businesses, start other businesses, have other ventures, and talk a little bit about that.
Well, taxes is, it can be kind of fickle. Right. And just like any industry, and again, maybe because I came from the real estate industry, I'm like,
once bitten, twice shy.
Right. Yeah. I'm never going to put all the eggs in one basket again. Right. And so, and then also the taxes is tied to the government. It's tied to administrations, and things change every time somebody new comes in. And so, you can always be at the mercy of what's going on, or you can say, hey, this is a vehicle. Again, it's not the end. It's not the stop. It's just a vehicle. Right. And so, looking at it, you say, okay, let's transition into some other things. And so we looked at taxes, and it is very, of course, seasonal for most people, right? Everybody's trying to file by April. For us, we pretty much do taxes all year, but still the bulk of the money comes in a particular period. And so when we looked at our next business, we wanted something that made money every day. Now we wanted something that had a cash flow daily, as opposed to something that was going to come in the big lump sum like real estate or like taxes. And so for us, we were like, hey, Fat Tuesday sounds great. We go to Fat Tuesday every time we go somewhere, right?
That's
so a friend called us and said, hey, have you guys ever thought about Fat Tuesday? And we were like, you know what? That would be a great model to add to the platform. And so to the businesses. And so we looked up and we flew out to Vegas and, met the people out there, and we were like, yeah, we could do this.
Okay. And so you have this 1,000+ licensees. You have trained over 7,000 for the tax business.
Yes.
You have 3 kids, 12, 9, 7. You have a husband.
Yes, I do.
You have a Fat Tuesdays in Memphis. You have another restaurant in the Dominican, not even in the United States. You are working on some other deals right now.
Yeah.
When do you sleep, my friend?
Yeah, what you sleeping for? No, let me stop. I sleep. I do.
How
I sleep
do you
from
do
about
it
3
all?
a.m. to 10 a.m. That's my sleep time.
3 a.m. to 10 a.m. Okay. How are you doing it all? What is the secret? What are you doing? Because I'll text you and you text back, and I'm like, how the hell she got time to text, right? So how are you doing it all?
But again, I tell people that I own a tax business, and they assume that I do taxes, right? Yeah. I don't do taxes anymore. At this point, I've created a system that survives without me. And so again, although I'm the unicorn, right? And at one point, everything was me. I was the marketing person. I was the person doing all the trainings. I was the person, doing all of the live videos on Facebook and everything, marketing, every single thing for the business. And I looked up and I said, no, you know what? Let's start firing me, because
that's it.
In order for it to scale to the level that it needs to, I can't be the deal every day. I can't be the only person that is vested in it every day. And so now I have an accounting team and a rep support team and, and all of these different departments that make sure that it runs without me. And so now that frees me up. Now I don't have to be a technician in the business.
Right.
Now I don't have to work in the business. I can work on the business.
And let's just say this. How many high-level masterminds have you joined?
Oh, goodness. Over the years?
Yeah.
So many.
Trainings, masterminds, perfecting the craft, part of organizations, getting mentorship, getting sponsorship, getting
lost count long time ago.
A lot.
But always looking for ways to get it, right? I'm looking for women who know more than me. I'm looking for, people that, have something to pour into me, because again, if I'm always pouring, and nothing's pouring into me, at some point the cup runs empty and I have nothing else to give. And so when, like you said, when you're dealing with, 1,000 stores and, every year we're recruiting new stores and we're, taking people on this journey and starting them on it for the first time, in order to have enough to give, I need someone giving to me.
That's
Sarah,
right.
Give to me.
That's
Sarah.
it. Yes. I so fully believe this. What do you say? Let's talk a little bit of advice. What do you say to someone who's like, I don't know what to do? You're probably going to say, well, come do taxes with me.
That's exactly what I'm going to say.
If you don't know what you're doing, just come do some taxes
if you don't
me.
know what you're doing.
Right.
Because again,
what about people who are trying to like figure it out? What do you say to those people? I haven't figured it out. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I believe I'm supposed to do something greater and bigger. I just don't know. What is that?
Well, for some people, again, that comfort zone thing is a killer, right? Because they've gotten to a place where maybe they're comfortable and they stop trying. And so whenever, and I get this a lot, people, hey, what can I do? And, taxes isn't for everyone, but find something. And again, it may start out as a hustle. It may start out as something that is just there to generate income so that you can fund the thing that you really want to do.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And a lot of times people know what that thing is, but they're just too afraid to admit and really be vulnerable to the point where they're like, hey, this is really what my dream is. And this is what I want to do, because they don't want to disappoint themselves. They don't want to fail at it. And if they say it out loud and they tell someone that was the goal, now someone else knows about it.
I love that. That's so true. That's so true. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad we had a conversation. She is such a boss. If you listened and watched this, you know exactly what I said is 100% facts. Thank you are such an incredible woman. I want everybody to follow you. I want everybody to follow in your journey. You are building a major empire, and my gosh, I'm so excited for you.
Well, thank you.
Tell us how they find you. And if someone is interested in doing a hustle in taxes, opening up a store, or finding out how they can, what does that look like?
Absolutely. Well, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Cherina Rowand Official, there. And then One Stop Taxes Official is the Instagram for One Stop Taxes. And you can go to onestoptaxes.com, sign up online, go through the training. It's all self-paced. We'll be doing taxes in no time.
Oh my gosh, I love this. All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Definitely. It's a pleasure.